So today on the Agency Excellence podcast, I'm thrilled to welcome Chris Hewitt, CEO and Chief Storyteller at Berkeley Communications. Chris founded his storytelling first PR agency over 30 years ago. Chris, we're excited to have you here. Thanks for coming on the show.
Chris, you just made me feel very old. But yes, it was 30 years ago, and it's an honor to be on the show. Thank you.
Not a problem. I'm extremely happy to have you here. So, Chris, kind of jumping straight into things, what has been the one growth lever that's made the biggest difference for you and your agency to achieve the success that you guys have had over these years?
I think there's a number of reasons for it, but I'm going to start by really talking about generating new business, new name business, because I think a lot of agencies have a tendency to turn up the dial on, client acquisition when they've got time. They're fitting around working, with existing clients, or they're depending a lot on recommendations or word of mouth or just being present. I think for us, the game changer was when we made the decision not to do it occasionally or when we could fit it in, but to actually bring people into the business who come in every day only thinking about building up your pipeline. In other words, we're trying to behave like a larger corporation where new business is a full-on activity, sales and marketing is a full-on activity. And if we know that pipeline is always full with opportunities, then we can be a little bit more selective and we can manage our growth accordingly. So that the day that we did that was the day that our fortunes changed. And that was many years ago. And to this day, we have control over that new business pipeline, which is a big deal. That would be the first thing. I think the second thing is know what you're good at and stick to a niche. If you can be big in a niche rather than small generalist, I think that again has worked for us very well. So essentially our niche is PR in the main. It's still 60% of our business, but when I set it up, that was what it was all about. But we're also in the tech niche. So a lot of our clients are B2B tech. So we've kind of focused our energies within that niche. So you build a reputation in a smaller market, and it's easier to know where to go and find those clients and add value. I think there's a third thing, add value. One of the things that I'm very passionate about to this day is, the power of story or storytelling. We've created an entire academy around this. So we teach and train people, and anyone who's coming through our training academy is a prospect, if you think about it. So it's worked out as a really good, what's the word for it? It's a tool that gets us in the door as a trainer or developer, but it also, because we're adding value, the next question the students have is how can we deliver on that? So we're there with all the services, a Trojan horse, I call it. It's a kind of, it gets us into the organization, but then once we're in, we're finding that there's lots of other things they want to buy from us. So adding value through our sharing our thoughts and training and learnings has been a really good thing for us. Those three things really have worked for us and continue to do so.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. It makes sense in theory, right? And I think a lot of agencies have challenge executing on, especially the sales piece. That's something that I think a lot of agency founders out there, they struggle to pass that off or to build that side of the business. And you guys have. So that's really cool. Would you mind elaborating on some of the challenges that you face as you're handing off and building out, your sales department, your marketing division?
I think it's a great question, and I think will be the biggest challenge, and probably one I haven't completely nailed either. I think the ability to delegate when you think you know everything is the big challenge. So I can walk around very opinionated about the way things should be done, and of course, if you're going to do them yourself, then you're going to hit the ceiling, aren't you? There's a real barrier to growth, and letting go or placing your trust in other people to train them in the way that you think can operate, but also allow them to make it their own. I think that's been a real challenge. You just want to be involved in everything. So for anyone in my position who wants to move from being a kind of successful practitioner into an entrepreneur has to step over this barrier and say, okay, I'm going to bring in people who are better than me at certain things. And that's tough when you do think you know everything. So I would say that has been a challenge, and we get it wrong, you get it right. But just learn to hire people better than you in certain niches and let them get on with it. and let them do it their way. Because the moment you get autocratic about it, people will just sit back and say, okay, well, how do you want me to do it? In other words, all you're doing is you're not scaling, you're just owning every decision. So it's tough, and I still find it tough, if I'll be honest. But as a lot of people probably tell you, but it is an art, and keep learning it, keep getting the right people on board, and don't be afraid to act when it's not working. I think that's the trick. Is scaling comes from actually reducing the bottleneck, which you become as the owner. An agency owner is always the bottleneck until they start placing their trust in other talented people, and that finding talented people is a tough ask.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I think your self-awareness to be able to own that I wanted to highlight that. I think it's really cool because not a lot of entrepreneurs have that level of ownership, So I think that's cool, Chris.
Yeah. Thank you.
What does the team look like currently? And how does somebody go from stranger to, client of the agency?
The way that we operate at the moment is that the company so we're about in US dollars, we're about 7 million revenues, and that is broadly spread across a group structure, which is we've set up a kind of non-trading holding company, if you will, beneath which are the various different component parts of the company. So PR is the mainstream business. The UK company was the first one that I set up and then put under that group holding. And then we've set up in the US, based out of New York. So we did that we've tried it several times, but we've cracked it now. We're on good momentum. So we have a team spread across the US, but headquartered out of New York. We have a team in Munich, in Germany. We have a team here in just west of London, and we more recently set up in Sydney, Australia, to cover the Asia Pac region. So depending on wherever you are in the world as a potential tech company who may be looking to disrupt but build their reputation and awareness, then you will find us in those regions. But also we also have a partner network that covers 25 other countries. So we're really designed for the fast track tech companies, not so much the big household names, although we have a few. We're interested in tech companies who are looking to grow, to scale their business. And for them, we have services ranging from research. We have a research business in the group, plus all of the subsidiary services, which are ranging from PR to marketing, brand communications, content creation, website design and development. So all of the services that a tech company might be needing to scale, they can find it all in one house and can do it anywhere and across the world. So that's our intention, is to be a kind of, I guess, a mini Ogilvy in many respects, that we can, you don't need the huge budget to go global. If you're scaling and pre-IPO or going through funding rounds, we're a good option for that, because we've got that kind of deep expertise and reach for those types of companies.
Got it. And so speaking of funding and, IPO, that's definitely something that a lot of companies out there are looking for. So for other companies or other agencies that are listening that are, supporting that level of client, what are some of the things that they should be considering, if they're looking for funding and if they're looking to IPO?
From a client perspective, do you mean, or from an agency?
Yeah.
From a client perspective, I think the biggest challenge that we're finding at the moment for companies who are looking to scale, I mean, funding is more scarce right now in the current economy. There is no question about that. And I think the danger is, and we do watch this ourselves very closely, you do have to have a good level of seed funding. So we tend not to take a risk, because we have in the past, of startups who may not be funded. And of course, in the end, it becomes really difficult because the owner of that organization sees it as their money. And, if it's, if the PR retainer is replacing a holiday for the family, it's going to end in tears, right? So we've got to what we really look for our end are for clients who've already got some traction, whether that's through investment or a P&M. Even if they're burning cash, it doesn't necessarily matter, so long as they've got investors behind them who are taking them on a trajectory of growth. And that is particularly where we're interested in the disrupting companies who are looking for more distinctive storytelling across all of the channels, and where there's an international spectrum. We're able to help through building awareness and growing their reputation. We can help them find funding, but they need to be able to fund that part of the journey. So for us, there needs to be some seed capital there, but typically we're taking clients on a journey by raising their profile, by getting them exposure around the work that they're doing in their field, positioning them as thought leaders, doing some valuable research for them, getting them noticed. We can help them raise their profile and in turn attract funding that way. So, but you've got to start somewhere. And I think in the past, we've probably, I can count the mistakes that we've made working with companies who ended up not being able to pay the bills. So, along a journey of 30 years, I've learned a lot and we know just what good looks like. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Speaking of the journey, you've mentioned that technology and AI, especially you guys dealing with tech companies, I'm sure that
Yeah.
your clients are,
Yeah.
leveraging and using AI and, having to adapt. So, for you
Yeah.
guys, Chris, what do the advancements look like? How is AI supporting and or affecting the decision that you're
Yeah.
making inside the agency?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. The a huge number of our clients they are AI tech companies, right? Again, not the big brands necessarily, but certainly the emerging brands who are selling services and solving solutions with AI tools. But equally, the whole movement of, digital transformation, for example, our clients are selling digital tech services to their clients across a variety of sectors from healthcare to manufacturing to finance and banking, where AI is such an important part of it. So our clients are typically AI infrastructure companies, AI data centers, AI tools and services that are being targeted at those vertical markets. It's a bank looking to disrupt its own market. We will work with the clients that serve or the tech firms that serve them. So AI is right there. It's in every conversation. We're right. That is the heartland. If you are a tech company with an AI angle, then we're a strong agency to be able to get that message into the right hands. But equally, we need to be using AI ourselves as an agency, and that is a huge thing. And this is where the 30-year history, funnily enough, comes into a real positive frame, because I used to be quite apologetic about the fact that we've been around for that long, because it sounds like we're a little bit of a dinosaur, because we've been around for 30 years, or 30 plus years, actually, as I keep being reminded. But one of the things that we've done is that we have created our own AI platform, a storytelling platform with the working title of Story AI, where the problem with any AI platform is that when it's been written by an AI platform, right? So there's something very obvious about that. So what we've done is that we've taken the 30-year legacy of all the training, all the thought leadership, the whole of the academy teachings over these 30 years, and we've taught the AI, our own GPT platform, to learn the 30-year brain that we've created around storytelling. And that in itself is a game changer, because what's now happening is that when we produce content, or when our clients can produce content, we have an AI story platform that will produce content that follows this story architecture that we've developed through our academy over the 30 years. It's something that no other agency could possibly have. So that 30-year brain has suddenly been modernized using AI, but making sure that the AI has that kind of human narrative, that human language that we've taught it and developed over 3 decades. So that's the thing that we're really excited about at the moment, because it's in beta testing. We're using it now across the agency, and everyone who's using it, it's a game changer. So we're very excited to be able to launch that in the coming months, because we're good to go with it.
That's super exciting. And I guess I'm curious, what's the vision? Is it to help other businesses and use that as maybe another Trojan horse kind of entry level offer, or is it scalability, or
Yeah.
what are you thinking here? Are you guys turning into a tech company?
The Trojan horse just gets bigger, doesn't it? I think the interesting part of this is that we thought everyone would just like to buy it and produce their own content. What's actually happening in our first experiences is that we've got a lot of clients who are coming to us and saying, we love this fact that you've got this tool, so we'd like you now to handle all of our content creation, knowing that we can man the machine, right? So in other words, there's 2 ways that we will be marketing this solution. The first one is through a what we call a managed service. So it's the same parlance actually as the world of tech. You can outsource, or you can do this in it yourselves. So from a content creation perspective, whether that's, email shots, whether it's building out a brand narrative, blogs, or social media content, for example, the tool we can churn out really meaningful content, well-written content, using the platform for and on behalf of our clients. So they're buying it as a service, but obviously they're getting a lot more value out of it, because what we're doing is manning the machine and making sure there's that still a human editor involved, but nevertheless the first draft of this content is like bewilderingly good. It's written because it's used the platform that we've taught it. So it's taught to be human in the first place. The second level is we're also saying to any agency or any content creator, here's the here's the login. We will just charge you a per user rate per month to use the tool. So at the moment it's based on the ChatGPT platform, but it will be spreading across all of the others. But nevertheless, we'll be able to provide you with a login to your own Story AI platform that we've created, and you can go and create it yourself. And we will just charge you a rate, whether that's a single user rate or whether it's SMBs or enterprise level. So we'll have a pricing model for do it yourself. So you can self-serve and pay a monthly fee, and produce stunning content and really quickly, or you could just let us run the whole campaign for you and we will man the machine and make sure that you get what you need.
It sounds like you guys have this very well thought out. It sounds like you have a little bit of experience rolling out tech.
Yes. Yeah, no, we're very excited by it. And the reaction from people when they're asking it to, okay, write a blog on this subject, and off it goes. And it produced something that is something that we would be very and are very proud of when it produces it, because it's the first draft is much more human than it is AI. You can't really tell, but it is written to our storytelling architecture, which we've created a story platform, which is the 30-year-old thing that's evolved over these decades, and that story platform is now at your fingertips, and it will just make sure it's producing really consistent and compelling content through this platform. So it's that combination of old school, new school, bringing it together. It's the big differentiator for us right now.
Very cool. Very cool. Chris, I'm curious, what are the areas of life that you've had to master along this business journey to success, and as you continue scaling?
Through life, well, I have an incredibly low attention span, and anyone who will tell you in a meeting how quickly my eyes will glaze over when I'm not on a topic that isn't about storytelling. To be honest, I have a real passion for it, but at the same time, I do recognize the need to focus on the numbers, and it's a big challenge for someone like me who finds that side of it so not so interesting. So I think you made a point earlier about, first of all, have some self-awareness around what this is. And I've been reading a lot about, there's two areas I find have really helped me. First of all, take time out. I don't know if you've heard of the Pomodoro method, but for me, it really works if I've got a low attention span, you'll find me kind of drifting away. And this makes sure that for 25-minute cycles where you sit down, and particularly when you're in that content creation mode, but when you need to focus, don't focus for more than 25 minutes. And at the end of that, give yourself a 5-minute break, but don't just stop working, go for a walk, get away from your screen and spend 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, just doing something else entirely different, and then come back and do another 25 minutes. But set a timer. I've got a little timer that Caroline bought me, in actual fact, which is the shape. A Pomodoro is Spanish for a tomato. So you have this, but it's shaped like a tomato timer. So it clicks away. And of course, when you know it's clicking away and that 25-minute deadline's coming, you kind of don't, it really focuses the mind. And then you do this 3 times, and then you make sure you take a half-hour break and then get away from it altogether. And if I have a day like that, it's really helpful. The second thing is I'm a passionate sailor. And sailing is a really good thing to do, because it when I'm sailing, I completely cannot think about business, because you're trying to keep the boat going in the right direction, and the wind, because you're dealing with the wind, you're dealing with tides, you're dealing with all kinds of navigational challenges that you actually get very lost in something that is, it just takes your brain away. So it does relax you immensely from the day-to-day pressures of cash flow and meeting deadlines. Just take, so there's the Pomodoro is good every 25 minutes, but every every 4 or 5 months. It's good just to get away and do something that it totally escapes you from reality. And then the other thing I've just started trying is actually meditation, is starting each day just with 10 minutes of focusing on the breath. And surprisingly, because I was a bit skeptical about this, I've found it to be incredibly helpful and relaxing. So I make sure that's become kind of a regular discipline as well. So yeah, I suppose it's just distracting yourself, isn't it, away from the day-to-day realities and not living and breathing it every second of the day.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think those are valuable insights and little nuggets that anybody could apply. So
Yeah.
thanks for that, Chris. What is one piece of advice as we're getting ready to wrap up here? What is one piece of advice that you would give for other agency owners that are looking to hit that level, 7-figure success mark?
That's a very easy one. And, particularly the benefit of being in business this long is that you can reflect on your past and the myriad of mistakes I've made along the way. So a semi piece of advice is, don't be afraid to make the mistakes. But I think the biggest one of all is whatever you're thinking, it's not big enough. So think bigger, believe in yourself more. Because I remember the early days, because I've set this business up on my own without investors or without any partners. And I think if I'd thought bigger from the beginning, if I believed in myself more, if I'd just been more deliberately confident, I think we would be looking at a much different business now. So only now have I started to think big, or more recently. But if you're a fledgling agency, a startup, or a small business, and I say think bigger, that's only if you want to, right? Some people just want a lifestyle, right? So I'm saying this on the assumption that you want to exit one day and make a ton of money and have a good lifestyle. Then yeah, whatever you're thinking, think double it, because you're capable of a lot more than you imagine.
Cool. Powerful. Chris, where can people learn more about Berkeley Communications, about the Academy, the Storytelling Academy, about Story AI, or even just sailing?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, you always find me engaged on all those topics. Best place to find me is on LinkedIn, and it's Chris Hewitt, or the agency is barclaypr.com. That is the main business. So you will find the Academy pages there as well. But if you contact me on LinkedIn, Chris Hewitt, Chief Storyteller at Berkeley Communications, you'll find me there and we can engage and go talk further.
Chris, thank you so much for having me on your show. A ton of golden nuggets here. It's been really awesome.
I've enjoyed it. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Likewise.
Thank you.
You're welcome.